Thank you for joining us here today as we get ready for the last couple days of preparation after many months of preparation for Marathon Monday, Patriots Day, and our beloved Boston Marathon. I do want to start just by saying that our thoughts and prayers and every bit of well wishes are with the city of New York, with the experience that they've had on the MTA earlier today. I know various of our officials have been in touch with our sister city there, and I had the chance to connect briefly with Mayor Adams, and so we are following very closely and wishing them... Test. Okay, thanks, Anthony. And wishing them every bit of strength right now. I'm grateful to be here with leaders who have been spending a lot of time ensuring that this year's event will be the glorious return that we've all been hoping for many years. Tom Grilk of the Boston Athletic Association, Chief Ken Green of the MBTA Police, Chief Shumeane Benford from the Office of Emergency Management, Commissioner Jack Dempsey of the Fire Department, Chief Jascha Franklin-Hodge of our Streets Cabinet, Chief Jim Hooley of EMS, Chief Greg Long of our Boston Police, and many others who are, let's see, did I miss anyone? I think I got everyone up here. The past few years have felt like a bit of a marathon for everyone, not in a good way. We have been through a lot in our community, and so after a virtual event in 2020 and a rescheduled event that occurred last fall, we're very excited to welcome back the actual Boston Marathon back to spring for the first time in 3 years. This year's race will mark the 126th running of the world's oldest annually held marathon. We are one of 5 cities across the world known for this level of athletic competition, community, and resilience. Marathons themselves have a long history, a testament to the extraordinary power of the human spirit, of our capacity to expand the boundaries of what's possible when we believe in our ability to do so and work hard and train and bring people together. And here in Boston, the marathon has always been about community, coming together, showing up, persevering, pushing forward no matter what may come our way, in the face of hate and division, fear or violence, not just to cross the finish line, to claim that medal, but to show the world who we are, and to invite everyone to join us in striving to be an even better version of ourselves. This year, more than 30,000 people from all 50 states have accepted that invitation. But you don't have to be putting on your running shoes to take part in this incredible event and this opportunity. This Friday, April 15th, is One Boston Day, a day when we remember all those we lost and remind ourselves of the resilience and compassion of our communities. Commemorating One Boston Day is a reminder to each one of us to never take a day for granted, cherish the time we have with the people we love, and to find some time to perform an act of kindness, however big or small, in your community. I also want to acknowledge that this year marks the 50th anniversary since women were officially allowed to participate in the Boston Marathon. And I say officially because well before then, we know that women like Roberta Gibbs, athletes who refused to let discrimination dictate the rules of the race for them, hid in the bushes near the starting line and ran anyway, wove their way into the crowd of runners once the starting gun went off, running the full marathon, even though the scorekeepers didn't acknowledge them. In 1972, the first year a women's division was officially established, 8 women ran. And this year, among the thousands of women and girls who will be participating in the marathon is Molly Seidel, a former Boston resident who made our city and our country proud on the world's biggest stage last year, bringing home the bronze medal in the marathon at the Tokyo Olympics. So on behalf of your hometown, congratulations, Molly. Welcome back. We're so excited to cheer you on. Finally, I do want to say a word about COVID. As always, the safety of all of our spectators, runners, and residents is our top priority. And I want to urge everyone attending this year's marathon and related gatherings to take precautions when it comes to public health. In the last few weeks, cases in Boston have risen. We are now at a 5.4% community positivity rate, which is above our threshold, and we are monitoring that very carefully. And so it's important that we take steps to protect ourselves and those around us who might be at high risk of severe infection. You can do that by getting tested before or after this year's race. We have free testing sites throughout the city. There are several walk-in sites, and results are usually available within 24 hours. For more information about where you can find a test, you can go to boston.gov/COVID-19-testing or call the Mayor's Health Line at 617-534-5050. Wearing a mask can also minimize your risk of catching and spreading the virus. Masking indoors is still optional, but we know it's one of the best ways you can stop the spread of COVID-19. And if you're sick, please stay home and isolate to prevent further spread to those around you. I'm looking forward to celebrating a safe, fun marathon with everyone in our city and all the visitors that we are eager to welcome. Okay, un poco en español, and then I'll hand it over to our CEO of the B.A.A, Tom Grilk. Hola a todos, gracias a todos por estar aquí con nosotros. Después un evento virtual en 2020 y un evento reprogramado el año pasado, estamos muy contentos de dar la bienvenida a Maratón de vuelta a la primavera por primera vez en 3 años. La carrera de este año marcará el aniversario 126 de maratón más antiguo del mundo que se celebra cada año. El Maratón de Boston es una tradición de la que estamos orgullosos y estamos encantados de que después de unos largos años volvamos a unir el lunes de maratón con otra gran tradición de Boston, el Día de los Patriotas. Los maratones tienen una larga historia que funciona como testimonio del extraordinario poder del espíritu humano. Okay, now I'll turn it over to Tom Grilk, CEO of the B.A.A.
Madam Mayor, thank you. And first off, I join Mayor Wu in sending from the Boston Athletic Association, and I'm sure from all of us in Boston, our very best to everybody in New York as they confront challenge and horror yet again. We in Boston and New York are separated by rivalries here and there, but when it comes to something happening, we are united, and we send them all the strength and resilience, that being something that we have always shared and will continue to share. Now, I'm Tom Grilk from the Boston Athletic Association. I thank Mayor Wu and everybody involved in the city of Boston, many of the agencies represented here today, for once again helping us to host what is now the 126th edition of the Boston Marathon. It took us 900 days to get to a Boston Marathon in 2021 last October, and just a quick turnaround of 139 days to get to here today. And it's unprecedented to hold 2 Boston Marathons in just 6 months, and we are therefore particularly appreciative of everything that everyone here at City Hall has done. Referring again to something Mayor Wu mentioned, we at the B.A.A. have continued to work closely with our COVID-19 medical and event operations advisory group in planning the weekend and race day to make everything the best it can be. And with that, we are requiring all participants, volunteers, staff, vendors to be vaccinated against COVID or provide a medical exemption form. And just as our advisory group helped us in October, we're sure that their guidance will allow for a successful and safe return now in April. And we look forward to not only the return of the marathon on its traditional Patriots' Day date after over 1,000 days, but also to our B.A.A. 5K and our invitational miles and our youth relays on Saturday. We're also delighted to offer free events and programming for everybody in Copley Square Park, beginning on Friday morning and lasting through Sunday evening. At our B.A.A. website, you can find a full schedule of all events. And we are very happy to be able to do our part in the reopening of society. And noteworthy in that regard, as was announced yesterday, the Boston Marathon will bring in more than $200 million to to the greater Boston economy, as announced by the Convention and Visitors Bureau. Now, we couldn't do any of this without the support of Mayor Wu and her team. We thank her. We thank the City of Boston for helping us get the Boston Marathon back on the roads on Patriots' Day on the third Monday in April. Thank you.
Next, I'll invite up our Commissioner Greg Long.
Good afternoon. First of all, I want to start out by thanking all our federal, state, and local partners, including the B.A.A., as well as the other city agencies, including emergency management, for all the planning that's gone into this for the months leading up to this, all the way through the weekend. Without those partnerships, we wouldn't be able to put this plan in place. Obviously, the Boston Marathon is an international event. It attracts thousands upon thousands of runners and visitors and spectators each year. Again, this year, we're expecting, a lot of people out there. There's a lot of excitement about this year. As a result, the Boston Police Department has developed a robust and comprehensive security plan in an effort to provide safety to the runners, the spectators, and all the visitors that come into the city of Boston. This weekend, starting Friday, it's going to be extremely busy down in the Copley Square area, Boylston Street area. Fan Fest starts on Friday. It runs through Sunday. On Saturday, we have the 5K race, the 1 mile race, and also the children's race. We'll have runners down there getting their numbers, taking pictures. So there'll be a lot of activity down there. Anyone down in that area from Friday through Sunday can expect a visible police presence in the area of Copley Square and Boylston Street. In terms of Marathon Monday itself, the department has a full department call-up, meaning every available officer will be working. I want to make note, in addition to the resources that are deployed down along the route, every neighborhood in the city of Boston will have the same coverage that they're accustomed to on Monday. On Marathon Monday itself, people can expect to see police officers in their uniform with their green vest. Also in the crowd, we're going to have plainclothes officers and detectives that we've utilized for the last several years. We're also deploying our EOD assets, our hazmat teams in conjunction with the fire department and the National Guard. Special operations, personnel from Special Operations Division will be along the marathon route. We'll have observation posts in addition to drone detection equipment. I just want to make a point that flying drones over the course is prohibited, and we have drone detection equipment available to us. As we have for several years now, we're going to stand up enhanced security checkpoints that'll run all the way from Kenmore Square down to the finish line. People coming through these checkpoints can expect to have their bags searched when they come through there. I just would ask people to exercise patience when they come through those lines and try to understand what we're trying to accomplish at those security checkpoints. I will also make note, in the past, depending on the size of the crowd, there have time to time we've had to temporarily shut down some of those checkpoints in order for the crowd to dissipate. That could happen on Monday also, but typically those are temporary closings. The Red Sox are also in town on Monday, which again, all throughout the weekend, which just adds to the crowd that we have down there. I would recommend anyone coming down to the marathon or the Boston Red Sox game, I would encourage taking public transportation. With all the street closing down there, parking will be limited, and it's probably your best bet for easy access in and out of the area. In terms of the marathon itself, there is no known credible threat to the marathon. Like everybody else, we're monitoring the situation in New York. Our thoughts and prayers go out to the families and the victims in New York. We've been in contact with our counterparts in New York. In addition, I've spoken to Joe Bonavolante from the FBI, Colonel Mason from the State Police, and Chief Green from the MBTA. We're monitoring the situation. In the short term, you can expect to see an increased police presence around MBTA stations next couple of days through the weekend. In terms of Monday, depending on what kind of information we have and intelligence, we'll adjust our assets accordingly around the marathon. What I will say is, when we've asked people every year for a long time, we're asking you to be vigilant. Although there's no known credible threat, we're asking anybody, if you see something, right, no matter how small, something that seems not right or something out of the ordinary, we're urging you, we encourage you to call 911, or if you see a police officer along the route, approach him or her and give them that information. You're our eyes and ears, and we appreciate your vigilance, during this weekend on Monday. And I will close by saying this, the marathon historically has been a great family event. It's a great weekend. I will ask people to come down there, be respectful of one another. Public drinking, smoking marijuana along the route is prohibited. I think if everyone comes down there with that mindset, they're respectful of one each other, and coming down to enjoy the weekend, we'll be able to showcase Boston for the world-class city that it is.
Thank you, Commissioner. Next, I'll invite up Chief Green from the MBTA, please.
Thank you, Mayor Wu. I'm just going to speak briefly about what has occurred in New York as it relates to the MBTA. As the MBTA as we monitor the events in New York, transit police officials are engaged with our local, federal, and state law enforcement partners to share any information or intelligence that is available. At this time, as Superintendent-In-Chief Greg Long has stated, there is no evidence, credible or otherwise, to suggest that the MBTA system is a potential target. The transit police employ a multi-layered approach to safeguarding the MBTA system. To reassure our riders, we have increased the number of uniformed officers on the system and deployed additional explosive detection K9 teams to perform protective sweeps. There are also actions that we employ that will not be too visible to our riding public. And just know the safety and security of our customers and employees is the MBTA's top priority. If riders of the T see anything out of ordinary, they are urged to contact transit police or MBTA personnel immediately. Transit police can be contacted at 617-222-122, or if you have a smartphone, simply download the free CSA app that the MBTA provides for its riders. This app allows you to send us a text or photographs anonymously if you choose. The text goes to a monitor that is monitored 24/7. You will receive a reply, and we will immediately send officers to investigate. But know this, that the public is the best resource that law enforcement has. So now I'm going to pivot into our plans for Marathon Monday. I want to first remind our riding public, including those who are fully vaccinated, are required to wear face coverings while on MBTA vehicles and at indoor stations, facilities, bus stops, and platforms for the commuter rail, subway, and trolley systems. The wearing of a mask is for your safety, safety of fellow riders, and for the safety of the frontline MBTA workers. Regarding transportation on Marathon Monday, Copley Station, as usual, will be closed all day. And from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., above-ground Green Line stops at South Station, which is on the B branch, Kent Street on the C branch, and St. Mary Street, which is on the C branch, will be closed. If more information is needed regarding service on Marathon Monday, please go to our website at mbta.com, where you'll receive up-to-date information. The transit police are well prepared for this year's event. We'll have additional transit police officers, both uniformed and in plain clothes, throughout the MBTA system to ensure everyone has a safe and efficient travel. As I already stated, there is no intelligence, credible or otherwise, to suggest the MBTA and or the marathon itself is a target. With that being said, we will continue to be in constant communication with our local, state, and federal law enforcement partners throughout the day. I'm confident in our training and, more importantly, in our collective experience for large-scale events like the Boston Marathon. But please, remember, if you see something, please say something. Contact transit police immediately if you see something or anything suspicious. Thank you.
Next up, Chief Hooley of EMS.
Thank you, Mayor. Good afternoon, everyone. I'll try to make it quick. The men and women of Boston EMS really look forward to this event every year. It's usually one of the first signs of spring, with all due respect to the Red Sox coming back to Boston. But it is a great family event. It is a holiday. It is a Boston holiday, not just a holiday in the Commonwealth. We do have comprehensive, multi-layered plans to protect the health and the safety of everybody who could be attending this event, who's participating in it, who works near it, or those who, frankly, could care less about it because they just live or work in the area. We have responsibility to protect everybody and to make sure that we're here to provide emergency medical care. We do that with that, as I said, a multi-layered plan. Over the weekend, with the street closures, with the events on Saturday, we'll enhance coverage in the Back Bay for the participants, spectators, and residents. We will have EMTs and paramedics on bicycles. We will have them on gators, John Deere gators, so we can get in and out of streets that may be blocked off, so we can extract people to get them out to ambulances. We will have additional ambulances on. There's a very comprehensive medical plan done with medical volunteers, with physicians, with nurses, along the entire route, not just in Boston. With one of the main purposes there is that we can turn around a lot of cases that might normally have to go to an emergency room. They can be treated at site in these main medical tents down in the finish area and discharged from there. That way we can keep the hospitals free from having to attend to these personnel, and that means that the emergency rooms will be free to handle all the other calls from not just Boston's neighborhoods, but from the region that come to Boston's hospitals every day. So we know we have responsibility for that. So we will have additional ambulances on for the neighborhoods and all the way from Newton on in, so that we can address either side of the route in Brighton, everywhere, because we know that it's Patriots Day, it's Marathon Day citywide, not just in the Back Bay and South End. So I just want to really encourage folks to come out, enjoy it, have a good day. We've learned a lot over the years dealing with this event for the medical emergencies, whether it's extreme heat, extreme cold, and we will be prepared for any eventuality. But also, we were prepared at a moment's notice back in 2013, so when events took a different turn. So again, you have a good experienced team that's going to be out there this year, and we're looking forward to a great day and seeing everybody out there. Thank you.
And next, our Chief of Streets, Jascha Franklin-Hodge.
Thanks, Mayor. Good afternoon, everybody. The Boston Transportation Department and the Boston Public Works Department have been working in close partnership with the agencies that you see up here, as well as the Boston Athletic Association, to prepare our streets for the marathon. The Public Works Department has been patching the road along the route, ensuring that sidewalks are safe for spectators. And the Traffic Management Center that BTD operates will be fully functional all weekend to help make sure that our signals and traffic operations are managed appropriately to address the road diversions and closures associated with this. There will be significant street closures and parking restrictions all throughout Marathon weekend. As was previously stated, this is a weekend-long event starting on Friday and continuing all the way through to Monday, with some residual cleanup happening later into next week. These changes are there to support public safety and traffic management. Many of these closures are there to accommodate both the 5K race that's happening as well as the marathon itself. So we ask that anybody who may be considering driving downtown and in the Back Bay over the next week to pay close attention to posted signs, read the message boards that will be up. You can also go to boston.gov/marathon, where you can find a map of all of the street closures, all of the parking restrictions, and additional details about the transportation impacts. This is a great weekend to take public transportation or walk or ride a bike if you want to come down in the area of the marathon. Travel by car will be difficult, and parking will be extremely limited on the street. The MBTA will be running additional service on Monday and will be offering a special all-day, all-zone commuter rail pass on Marathon Monday. You can find all the details of this at mbta.com/marathon. The city's Blue Bike system will also be operational this weekend. Several stations along the marathon route will be removed to make space for runners and for crowds. But we will be operating 2 valet stations for Blue Bikes riders, one at Back Bay and one in the Fenway, which will make it easier for people to get and drop off bikes. You can check the station map at bluebikes.com for additional information. This is an exciting weekend in Boston. Best of luck to all the runners, and we're looking forward to a healthy, safe, fun marathon weekend. Thank you.
Commissioner of the Boston Fire Department, Jack Dempsey.
Thank you, Mayor. As with every major event, the Boston Fire Department works with all the other agencies, police, EMS, and we prepared an incident action plan that we're willing to implement, ready to implement. We have plenty of resources out there to cover anything that can happen. So we're hopeful and looking forward to a great event Monday and this whole weekend. That's all I have. Thank you.
Last but not least, someone who is really the glue, whether in snowstorms or in large-scale events, to Chief of Emergency Management, Benford.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for your steadfast and courageous leadership. We greatly appreciate it. And I join the Mayor and my colleagues up here in front in recognizing New York City and all that they're dealing with at this time. The Emergency Operations Center will be operational during the marathon. We will be available for enhanced coordination across city departments as well as with our federal, state, and private partners to include the B.A.A. So again, I join all of my colleagues on stage in recognizing that this is a family event. We wish all of our runners the very best. We look forward to them being safe, as well as all of the runners, spectators, as well as families coming down to the event. So we will be available to assist in coordination, and we look forward to a fun-filled and uneventful day. Thank you very much.
Questions?
You had said in your statements that the PPD and law enforcement would adjust assets accordingly depending on information coming out in New York. Can you expand on that and what would that look like, especially now that as you were up here, NYPD clarified that they simply don't know if it's terrorism or not at this time?
Yeah, again, like, I mentioned, we do have a full department call-up, so we have a ton of assets. I can't really get into the particulars of where we'll deploy people. What I would say is, again, everything is intelligence driven, and again, depending, if there's information that points to, there might be an issue, one place versus another, that's where we'd adjust and move our assets to.
When you have somebody posing as somebody else, you were asking the public to make sure that they always contact police. And what's some special instructions on things to look for if somebody is posing? Obviously, we had uniforms stolen on the South Shore, but just in general, when people seem like this MTA or this person may have been posing as a police.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think those are all like incident specific. I think people have a keen understanding of what kind of behavior is normal, what's not, what's a little bit off. Again, I think, if people see behavior, if you see someone, whether it's dressed in a uniform, has, a vest on that, you think might be a worker, but they're acting a little bit odd, a little bit suspicious, a little bit out of the norm for what you'd expect someone to be doing. Again, I would urge anybody, right, not to be afraid to call 911, or like I said, if there's an officer near there, to notify him or her. Again, I'd rather, err on the side of caution than not.
Just given the recent incidences in New York and then obviously deadly incidences here on the T in Massachusetts, should people feel safe riding the T?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. The MBTA does millions of trips per day, safely. From time to time, there may be an issue, but I would say T is safe.
There's a grieving family right now, and they're wanting answers, and I think the public wants answers as well when it comes to that Red Line incident. Can you provide any more details on that?
It's an active investigation. I really can't add too much to that. Right now, it's investigated by the NTSB, Suffolk County DA's office, and my office as well. So I can't really get into that.
Additional officers on the team today. Are you putting any kind of security checkpoints since we know that what happened in New York that actually brought that something onto one of these cars? Or kind of security checkpoints to see what people are bringing with?
Well, that's something that I'll discuss with my command staff when I get back. This incident that happened in New York is still fluid. We're still waiting for more information to come out so we can redo our posture, if you will. I mean, I certainly would hope not. You know, the MBTA is safe. We're out there. We'll have full complement of uniform officers, increased uniform. We'll have our canines out there. We'll have our explosive detective units. We'll have our plainclothes officers out there. So we're going to be out there in full.
What are you looking for? What information are you looking for from them, and how do you change what you're doing operationally?
Well, we're looking for the exact intel that comes out of there, so we can put our defensive postures in place. As of right now, we don't have all that. It's still fluid, so we can do the increased coverage with the special operations and uniform officers and whatnot. You know, as far as putting anything else in play, we're going to wait until we get more information.
Come out of since the marathon bombing happened, sort of two things to make people feel safe and possibly if this suspect were to come to Massachusetts, because right now, as far as we know, he's still out.
Well, one of the biggest things that came out of the marathon bombing for the transit police is establishment of our EDU unit, explosive detective unit, and our K9 units. We have them out there every day in and day in and day out to ensure that the safety of our public is being done. Yeah, they're at the major, especially at our major hubs like South Station, North Station, and basically really any station, just to ensure that you know, unattended bags or left bags are sniffed out.
And just to add on that point, I rode the T this morning. It was smooth and great as always. I got to ride in one of the new Orange Line trains, so very excited that those are up and running. And so continue to urge everyone to use our public transit system, knowing that there is a whole lot of information gathering, coordination, and very careful monitoring that's happening day in and day out, not just after major incidents. I had the chance also to sit with our Boston police weeks ago as they were already months into their planning for this event. This year marks 9 years since 2013, and each and every one of those years has been, well, with the exception of our virtual year, has been a very carefully coordinated large-scale event. The amount of staffing, of planning, of interagency communication that goes into this, it is mapped out street by block by block by block, and so an incredible amount of effort has already gone in on behalf of our residents and visitors through the Boston Police and Fire and EMS and all of our public safety agencies, and we will continue that up as we head into this weekend.
Special meetings leading into Marathon weekend to make sure intelligence is being put into action. I mean, obviously, law enforcement knows what they're doing. Are you be doing anything special as we get information out there?
Commissioner?
Could you specify the question? Yeah. Sure.
Out of like New York, you put into place in the streets. I remember we had problems with cars running in the crowds. You guys used the public works vehicles.
Which we still utilize. I neglected to mention that. You will see those blocking vehicles again on Marathon Monday. You know, we obviously saw that in the St. Patrick's Day Parade. To answer your question, you know, that information is real time. I mean, you know, when this happened, we're communicating with our partners down in New York. So any intelligence that we think, you know, that could possibly affect us, like I said, we get it in real time.
Mayor, just a quick question in regards to COVID. You mentioned that 5.4% positivity rate, and that's above the city's threshold. Can you explain what that means? And then are you looking at what Philadelphia did and kind of weighing all the options when it comes to masking and other different things?
Yep, there are many, many metrics that the city and our Boston Public Health Commission are monitoring very carefully. Some of them follow behind when we see transmission out in the community. Really, our best leading indicator is the wastewater data, and we've seen a pretty big increase, over 100% increase from today compared to 2 weeks ago. And so we know that there's continued transmission out in the community. The largest chunk of this increase has been from people between the ages of 20 and 40. And so we do see that more folks are coming out and enjoying and having events. We just urge everyone, if you're not feeling well, please find a test. You can come to one of our city's free walk-in testing sites or access rapid tests at home. Wear your mask if you are at all concerned or if you personally are at higher risk. And we just want everyone to be vigilant. We're not there yet in terms of the sort of multi-layered metrics that we're watching to move back into a masking mandate. But we do want to just note that the numbers have been on a little bit of an uptick, and so we're watching that very carefully here.
The marathon, though, with tens of thousands of people coming here as well, and the risk that poses.
Yeah, even outdoors, when many people are crowded together, it is a situation where we want everyone just to be aware. And so if you are able to take a test before you attend, especially if you're going to a party or a more crowded situation or an indoor event, that always helps. And just, again, for everyone to remember that there's still transmission out in the community. We're not all the way past COVID, to be aware, and we are doing everything on our end to monitor all the data very carefully as well.
Clarify at what point you would institute the mask mandate again as well as the vaccine requirement?
The Boston Public Health Commission is looking at not only wastewater data, but also community positivity, as mentioned, and hospitalization rates and the increase in new hospitalizations. So we're not there yet on those metrics, and we're just watching the numbers. There have been fluctuations up and down, so we want to just see where this is going and make sure that it's not headed on a continued upwards trend. It's all relative. We are not there yet in terms of the hospitalization numbers and the impact that we're seeing out in the community. The B.A.2 variant is very much dominant among the cases here in Massachusetts and in Boston. And so as new variants continue to evolve, we do just need to keep reminding everyone that we have to be aware to get vaccinated and boosted, access our testing sites, and just have that in your mind as we are coming back into more in-person gatherings and more in-person events.
Last question, please.
Mr. Grilk, just wanted to know your thoughts heading into this big weekend. Obviously, had the marathon attack before, not to compare what's happening in New York to that, but does it give you pause, does it concern you at all, or just your thoughts in general?
In terms of what happened in New York or any risk of any kind, we are the grateful beneficiaries, we at the B.A.A. and all involved in the marathon, of the work of all the agencies you see represented here and many others. So concerned, not concerned in any unusual way, alert, vigilant in every possible way, but knowing that that vigilance is in the hands of all the right people, we're very comfortable to proceed. The decision is really in support of the people of Ukraine, who have suffered so horribly, particularly as we have seen very recently. It is that.
I know we're wrapping up. I just want to make sure we convey some of the important points in Spanish as well. En ese momento no tenemos ninguna información sobre amenazas en Boston, pero estamos vigilando sobre la situación actual y tenemos un plan para la seguridad, la celebración de la maratón en Boston este año. Okay, thank you very much, everyone.